Hi, guys. This is the Working Money Podcast with host Michelle Wong, and I have a great recurring guest. His name is Steve Rosenberg. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, Michelle?
Things are going good. So, tell me what's going on. I see a lot of postings from Twitter from you. I see that you're moving around and shaking and rubbing elbows with a couple of other companies out there and other entrepreneurs that are in the whole green business. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I started my career in the recycling industry and was able to help a lot of bigger businesses, publicly traded companies, Fortune 500 companies save hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on their waste. And then from there was able to consult with them to really build an infrastructure at their manufacturing plants to strive for zero waste. And so that was really successful, and we had a big competition called the Race for Zero Waste, where we got different Fortune 500 companies to compete against each other to see who could improve their recycling the most over a 6-month period. And we were able to get some really cool people involved. We had a Olympic gold medalist and a UFC fighter involved. And, you know, with the emergence of technology and social media, we're really focusing a lot of our efforts now on finding other influencers to help us with this movement, and to do it from a more eco-capitalistic standpoint so that it's realistic for businesses to make these necessary changes, but also do it in a profitable way.
So that means, ladies and gentlemen, that Steve is looking for someone in a higher level, public figure. I would say let's move the public figure on the side and more of a celebrity stature. Someone that we mentioned previously on the last show that he was on, someone like Leonardo Di Caprio, who is a very big advocate of being more eco-friendly and being more green conscious. As a matter of fact, I was watching TV today. I rarely watch TV, but I just got I had to get a little bit of info of what's going on in, I guess, in the Hollywood world. And Lord and behold, I saw something on Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, this segment that they covered was about his foundation. He has a foundation. And he basically had a reunion with the other actors that was with him in the film Titanic. So Kate Winslet and Billy Zane were also there helping him raise money for awareness under his foundation. So he is a prime example of someone that Steve would like to have to partner up with him and be the spokesperson for the project that he's doing now. So Steve, tell us a little bit more about the project that you have going on and everything else.
Well, yeah, I mean, I should first explain why it's so important to get people like this behind us and what we're doing, you know, whether it's Leonardo DiCaprio or Elon Musk or, you know, those kind of people in the world, because having influential people behind that is really going to draw not only the awareness that's necessary, but they're going to have the ability to shift people's actual actions and what they're doing in their everyday lives. And, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio is a prime example, and he gets a lot of slack sometimes. You know, I hear people make comments about him and stuff, and it just makes no sense to me because, you know, they'll say something like, oh, well, he flies in his private jet, and that's not eco-friendly. I'm like, yes, I understand that, but what he does for that movement compared to flying a jet is not even, you can't compare the two because it far outweighs And I think he genuinely cares. It's been something that he's been invested in for many, many years. And think of how many more people are aware of these situations simply because of Leonardo DiCaprio. So I think from our generation standpoint, he's one of the great leaders. And that's why I'm really excited to try and work with him somewhat to help get more of these people involved, and then being able to utilize social media and tools like that to really start spreading the awareness and getting actionable things to happen.
Yeah.
The second reason why it's so important is because, there's a lot of things that are being cut right now with a new administration that's on board, and if we don't have influential people like Leonardo DiCaprio or Elon Musk or whoever it is really helping to fight that system and keep it going, I just don't think that's a good idea for anybody's sake.
No, well, this is the thing. I truly believe that people need to start caring and being more aware of what is going on with our planet overall. Because our planet, if we're not taking care of our planet, guess what? Our planet is going to die. And if our planet dies, guess what? Everything in that planet is also going to die. That means you, me, anybody else, the animals, the plants, everything is going to be non-existent if we don't take care of it. We take advantage of living on this planet, and for the life of me, I don't understand why people are not more conscious of their surroundings and try to do things to help it along. Because even after all of the pollutants and everything else years ago, our planet was, it was fresh. It was just a young planet, and you had all these animals. You had humans on the planet, and there wasn't any complications. Obviously, there's evolution that came into place, and the dynamics of how things were, the changes that happened through that evolution caused, the planet to readjust itself. And it happens every so often, but we should not be the cause of our own extinction per se, if we don't take care of our planet. And that's just where people don't seem to realize that. On another note, celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio are always going to get some kind of slack. They're going to get backlash. They're going to have people say things. But you know what? There's always going to be someone saying something. You're not going to be 100% where you're going to be liked by everybody. Someone always has something to say. But you know what? And I agree with you. You have to weigh in the pros and cons. Okay, so he goes and he gets he flies around on a private jet. But you know what? That private jet is because probably if he goes through a commercial airline, you have to go through maybe certain hassles. You probably it takes a little bit longer when you're on a commercial airline. Why? Because you have to go through security. You have to go here. You go there. If you're on a private jet, you go from destination A to destination B in a shorter period of time. So if he has to go to some kind of function, he has to go to some kind of gala or event, and it's representing the cause that he has a passion for, then you can't rip him apart for that. You have to take into consideration what he does and how long he's been doing it. And he's not one really to get in your face about things. He does things in public, yes, for his cause, for what he believes in overall to help humanity. Yes, he does that because he truly is passionate about it, and he's been doing this for a very long time. It was just as of late that people started to realize that he's very green conscious, and he's all about being more globally aware. But in other aspects, he's a very laid back person. He's a private person. He really doesn't get in your face about things. It's the only thing that he does get in your face on is what he does, and that's his advocate work.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I completely agree. And just, there's always going to be the haters. And I hate that negativity, especially when people try to point to things like that.
Mm-hmm.
We can sit here and debate until we're blue in the face about, whether this goes in that car. We can go back and forth all day long, but it doesn't matter. And also, you have to be practical about the situation. I mean, you're not expected to be Mother Teresa over there. Nobody's perfect, but, man, when you wave at you, it just makes very clear sense, and especially when you have to be practical about situations, and it really does. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Nobody's perfect. If that was the case, we would have a handful of people that are perfect. They have perfect lives, but it's not. It's not that. The reality is not. Is he? He makes mistakes like everybody else. He gets scrutinized sometimes for certain things that he does, but people are quick to say things about other people, but they don't see all the good that other people do. And it's not just him. There's other celebrities as well that do a lot of humanitarian work, a lot of they have foundations, they have nonprofits and stuff like that, and they do things on the back end. They don't discuss it much, and people dwell on all of the other things that are going on, and you have to take that apart, because a person's personal life or a person's what they do on the back end has nothing to do with all the other things that they're doing on a positive. So I 100% agree with you on that. And ladies and gentlemen, Steve and I have been talking every so often in regards to what we can do to help improve things in general for the sake of humanity and in the sake of the planet. And one of the things that I was very serious that I mentioned the last time is getting Leonardo Di Caprio to basically look at what Steve is doing in his project and what he does overall in his company. And I've been speaking to a few people. There's one particular person that has contact with him and has done interviews with him, and I'm making those connections to, have that dream become a reality in having someone of that stature to come in and, be the spokesperson, be the face of what this project represents.
Well, and also, it would be really good to figure out how we can help him in whatever he's doing and bring awareness to those kind of things too. I mean, it should be a give and take relationship, and I think the first way that starts is, like you said, really being able to sit down and get it from his perspective and have that real one-on-one interaction with him, and again, just try to bring more education to it, and then be able to use social media and other tools of that nature to actually make an impact.
Yeah, I totally agree. Steve, I know that you've been going to conventions and you've been speaking with other companies. Is there a, out of those interactions, what individual or company has given you an impact or influenced you or possibly gave you some kind of insight where you say, hey, you know what, I have to see what else I can do to kick it up a notch and really put myself out there?
Yeah, so, this is not playing favoritism in any way, shape, or form, but to give you an example of a company that I really respect and have really been blown away at their continuous effort is FedEx. and the way that they are always striving to achieve zero waste and have some really, really big goals in place corporate-wide. And I've just seen them take it to such a different level. That's really, really been impressive. And I just give them huge props as a company when their number one priority is not that, but, to make sure people have their packages on time, because if they didn't do that, they wouldn't have a business. But to do all this stuff on top of what they're doing and really making an effort, I've been blown away at what they've been able to do.
Okay, and you said FedEx, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I actually know someone. I haven't spoken to this person in a while, but there is a person that I know that is direct family member of the owners of FedEx, which I was blown away through a conversation that I had. I had a conversation with this person, and then they kind of like said, hey, I come from a well-to-do family. I said, okay, I didn't think much of it because I don't really pry in people's business, but then they just kind of told me just out of the blue, they're like, well, my family owns FedEx, and they're based out of Memphis, Tennessee, and that's where he's from. That's originally from where he's from, and he now resides in the San Diego area of California. So I was really blown away by that, and it's funny how you get to meet or you have conversations with people that are on a grander scale, which to me I see that. Overall, when you're trying to do something in a business, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, nothing is impossible. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing is impossible. You just have to put your mindset to it. And one of the things that I've seen is that if you go out and you make it a point to meet particular individuals, you will go and set out and meet those particular individuals. Just like if you are looking to do something, it's just a matter of going out and doing it. And
absolutely.
Now, there was a picture of someone that you sent me the other day. You met someone very interesting a while ago. Tell us a little bit about that.
About who?
You sent me a picture, I think it was like a month ago, that you were at some kind of event and you kind of met with someone that was...
Yeah. So I met the co-owner of WeWork, which is an enormous office sharing business. Started by these two entrepreneurs in New York, or I think it was New Jersey. It was New Jersey or New York is where they started it, and is now worth over $13 billion as a company. And I was able to attend their Creator Awards here in Austin, where they award smaller businesses with some capital. And I got to meet this guy, and I was just blown away at how humble and nice and just a well-rounded guy for being someone in that kind of power and stature. He really doesn't feel like that. He was a very genuine type person. I think that's very, very important, and the power of networking and being really determined, because I think a lot of people would not have gone into that situation the way I did and really tried to put myself in there, but, it paid off.
And isn't it amazing that when you meet people that are that successful, how down to earth and how humble they are? There are a few that, they tend to be a little bit arrogant. There's a handful of them, but the ones that are so down to earth, and when you get to talk to them and they give you their journey, their experience, it's a wonderful feeling. And I'm under the assumption, based on what you're telling me, that he might be in the same level as Mark Zuckerberg in, I guess, the way his demeanor is? Because I've heard from other people that know him directly that he's very laid back. He's very, he's a jeans and t-shirt type of guy, and he's very into working with other people and working in charities and things like that. Is this kind of like the same type of feel that you have with the founder of WeWork?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he really cares about his business. I actually heard a podcast that he was on before I met him, before I even knew who it was or the story of WeWork, and I heard him on this podcast, and so I learned about it. And strangely enough, I met him that next week. There was no it was a complete coincidence. There was nothing on purpose about it. But what he said was that throughout the whole process, when someone said to him, "Well, now you're worth $6 billion. Why don't you just sell it and retire?" And you could tell that it was not even in his thought process to ever do anything like that. Because it wasn't about necessarily the money then. It was the game. It was like what the impact that he was having, and he's sort of on this mission.
Yeah.
And that's where I kind of see the similarity between him and Leonardo Di Caprio, to where, of course, money is important, just like it is to everybody. But they're not, Leonardo is not doing this stuff because he needs the money. He's not doing it for the money. He's doing it because he really cares about it, he believes in it, and he's right about what's coming. And, thank God for people like him that have the courage to stand up and say things, even when people are saying, "Oh, it's fake," or, whatever they want to, or they're focusing on the fact that he flies in jet, whatever they want to focus on that's negative. But, I love that he doesn't listen to it, and that he's not in it for the money. He's not in it for these,
you have to have a thick skin when you're in the limelight. Not just celebrities, but you have public figures, you have successful business owners, and so for people of that nature that are always constantly in the scrutiny of the public eye. You have to have a thick skin, because people are always going to rip you apart for whatever reason. If you look a certain way, or if you act a certain way, or if you say something that might be controversial, or whatever the case is, you're gonna have to brush it off, because that's the reason why you're there. Now, he's an actor. He's a very respectable actor. He's been in numerous roles as a respectable actor, and
but he wasn't always. He started out when he was young, and it took him a while. Like, people used to make fun of him and stuff, and I have been so blown away just following his career from an acting perspective. When his breakthrough was like probably Titanic. Yeah. But what I love that just reinforces the fact that I feel he's so genuine is that when he takes on new roles, he does it better than anyone else, because he preps for it off the screen and on the screen. I mean, he really gets into those roles and plays it and just takes it really seriously. Yeah. And now he picks roles that are true to him or a challenge to him, not just, I'll pick another role because it's a paycheck.
Do you remember the TV show that he was on when he first started? I know.
I don't remember the name of it. What is it?
It's Growing Pains. That was one of my favorite TV shows back in the 80s. I think he started. I'm not sure if it was the early 90s. He came in as a kid from the street. They picked him up, and and then he just became ongoing part of the cast for Growing Pains. And then from there, he went and did the Basketball Diaries. He's done What's Eating Gilbert Grape. He's done The Three Musketeers, Catch Me If You Can with Tom Hanks. He's been in Titanic, which kind of like made him, he put him into in the level of an A-list actor, because Titanic became a tremendous hit. And he has there's another one that he plays Oh my God! It has to do with him being in an island. And I'm terrible with the names of all the shows, but with the movies, but he's a character where he kills his wife and then he goes to this kind of like mental asylum. He pretends that he's a detective, and then he realizes at the end that he's there because he kind of lost his mind after what transpired with his wife and all of this other stuff. So he's done some really great movies as an actor. He's very respectable. And again, it's like, he's one of those figures that I adore him. Oh, and then I just nearly forgot the most recent, a couple of other recent ones. The Great Gatsby, he was in, and he was also The Wolf of Wall Street. So he's very versatile in the
and Before the Flood, Inception.
Yeah.
Departed.
Yeah.
To Django.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's very versatile as an actor, and he plays different characters in different roles, and it's one of those things. And apart from that, he also is very open about what he does, as an advocate.
It leads to a really good question, which is, what could we do for him that would add value in his life? Especially if it's moving towards sort of a project like this. We know he's passionate. I would love to know.
Yeah, I definitely do too. That would be something that we would have to sit with him and ask him that question. Because he's such an influential person. He's a powerful person, per se, and to have someone on that level to be working in this project, that would be awesome. And yeah, I'm curious to know what we can bring to the table for him.
Absolutely.
But
I think he's trying to achieve something, and I want to be a part of that and helping him to achieve that, because then everybody wins.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Everybody thinks you're crazy until you do it.
You know what? Nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. There's a couple of memes that actually has him as the character of the Wolf of Wall Street. One of them was recently that I saw that I just kind of blew my mind was... money can't buy you happiness, but poverty can't buy you anything. And I actually shared that meme to someone that I talk to every so often. He was actually on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he's a big fan of the Wolf of Wall Street. He I think is the epitome of the character of the Wolf of Wall Street. He's doing some stuff on his own, and when it comes to the whole culture matter phenomenon, he's trying to get that moving along with his business and company. And I sent that to him, and he was like, "Oh, this is awesome." And he went into social media and shared it as well. And on top of that, I think he has it as a cover page on his fan page or business page on Facebook. So I was just like, oh, this is totally awesome that he used that, because some of the memes that Leonardo Di Caprio is depicted on, they have a lot of value, a lot of sense to it. And I would love to ask him what he thinks of that, that him portraying a particular character is now being used to have these memes created, and it has some kind of sense to it, so yeah. It was one of those things that it's like, oh my God, like people are always gravitating to that and everything. But Steve, I have a quick question for you. Apart from
Sure.
Leonardo DiCaprio, who else would you have interest on that larger scale? Public figure,
great question.
Celebrity that...
Easy. That's an easy answer for me. It's Elon Musk, 110%. Leo and Elon in the same room, I think is a great idea, along with a couple other really influential people that I think, if done the right way, would make a huge impact.
So
I think it'd be really interesting to have, Leonardo, Elon, and someone like Gary Vee in the same room as well, because, from the marketing side, that's one of the biggest flaws in the system. If there is a way to make going green, quote unquote, or, zero waste sexy in a sense, then more people would do it.
Now,
I think with social media and the right marketing approach and the right influencers involved, that's the way that we could actually change the world.
Yeah. Now, I have a question for you. Because
anything.
How approachable would be Elon Musk? Like what? How would be the process to approach him?
Yeah, I think Elon Musk is probably one of the busiest people right now. He is 24/7 business oriented, and I would love to help more of his circle first. So what I've been on a crusade to do is, I've talked to and interviewed a couple of people now that know him or that closely relate to it. I talked to the inventor of the lithium-ion battery. I talked to one of the partners at Capricorn Investment, which was one of the first investors in Tesla and SpaceX and a number of other projects. And, really trying to drum that up, because what Elon is doing and what he's done in such a short amount of time, and what I mean by that is he's achieved more in his lifespan and changed the course of the world than most people do in a lifetime. He's done in the last 10 years, 20 years.
Okay.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but he also has spoken in public about this whole having a flight to go to Mars.
Yeah, well, it's not the flight. It's being able to harvest another planet for humans to live on. It's about creating a sustainable life habitat for people on somewhere other than Earth.
Yeah. Mars, because there have been astronauts not astronauts. There have been scientists that have been looking into the planet of Mars and studying it, and they have shown traces of previous life in Mars. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm misquoting or saying something that is not on the correct in the factual information, but there have been life form there, and Mars, I think, was kind of like Earth at some point until it became extinct.
It's just, we don't know. There's lots of speculation out there. We just don't know.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I've always heard over the years, that they quote unquote had assumed that there was some kind of life form existence in Mars, and that Mars at some point was very similar to Earth. And something happened where, I guess through the evolution of time, the planet became extinct, and that's why there's no more life form. Do I know that as a factual thing? I don't know, but that has been a theory for quite a few years. I think since I was a kid, there was always that conversation per se, where there have been a few things that have been documented on that. I don't know if it's a factual thing. Who knows? Because,
and like you said, anything is possible. But I think one of the more relevant projects Elon's working on that has a direct, huge impact on all of this stuff that we're talking about. Leonardo is, the solar side of things. They're moving to electric cars instead of gasoline, fossil fuel cars. He's working on helping the transportation system by autonomous vehicles, and that's already here. I mean, people talk about that like it's 20 years away, and it's here.
No, it's here.
It's really, really here.
It's here.
And
yeah.
things are going to shift, and things are going to change, and this is the best time out of any time to get ahead of the game when it comes to this specific topic, because everything's about to change. And what Elon's more scared about than anything, and I completely agree with this, is artificial intelligence and how rapidly it could change for the worse. That's one of his big fears, but AI is also coming a lot sooner than we expected.
Yes.
I don't know if you've heard this. This blew my mind. I heard this week, that Google had to shut down the first project because the AI machines that they were experimenting with came up with their own language. So they had to shut down the project. Do you know how scary that is? That they would have to shut down a test project? It's not even the real thing.
Yes.
And that's how quickly, that's scary.
Well, listen, the movie Terminator? That was based on
that's what I mean. Everyone's like, oh, that's movie stuff. It's not, though.
No. But I'm saying that
maybe it is. But
it's amazing how movies make predictions for things. Have you ever really looked at a couple of movies, and some of the movies foresee things that go on in the future? Isn't that crazy? I mean, some people don't like to discuss it, but the reality is that if you start looking through, like for instance, there's a movie that was out. I would say in the late 90s. This is before the thing that happened with 9/11. It was with Denzel Washington, Bruce Willis, Ann Bennett. And there was a couple of other characters, and it was based on this whole controversial thing about terrorism and how they basically created a second concentration camp because there were cells. Cells are like, I guess, the concept of that is cells are these groups, these terrorist groups that they wake up individuals to go and bomb certain areas. Then once that's completed, they go on to the next location, and they're called cells. So this movie came into place, and it had a little bit of controversy because of all of the at that time there was no. The terrorism thing wasn't existent, but it was not in that level, and there was certain predictions that were kind of in height when that movie came out. And then a few years after, this thing with 9/11, and that created this whole issue that we're having now. So, and then you have The Day After Tomorrow, I think it's the other one, with Jake Gyllenhaal and I forgot the other characters the other actors that are in that movie. And it was about the whole climate change and all of this other stuff. It's amazing that movies sometimes do foretell things that will occur in our reality. Isn't that crazy?
I think it's absolutely crazy. So I thought today was a really awesome conversation, and I'm excited to see what the next steps are. What can we do for our audience in the meantime, or answer for them?
Yeah, I totally agree. So, Steve, we have some time left here. So fill me in on anything else that you would like to share with our listeners. Any other projects that you have going on? Anything else that you want to share with our listeners?
Well, one thing I would love to share with some of the listeners is being able to bring them some value with all of this. And I think it's always good whenever I do my podcast. The best way that I end the show is I always ask the questions that, what do you think is going to be next for you over the next 5, 10, 20 years? Do you know what yours is, Michelle?
What do I see in the foreseeable?
Yourself in 10 years from now.
10 years. That's a very interesting question. I'm being put on the spot, ladies and gentlemen. But I am actually seeing myself helping other people, trying to better the world. I think that, and I've always shared this, and I've always said it. I'm all for trying to have a better humanity. We're living in a world right now where there is a little bit of improvement in certain things, but there is also progression in other things. I think that we all have to learn to coexist and be better human beings and try to treat each other better. I think that we also have to be more aware of what we're doing with our planet, because we're not the only ones that are here. You have to also bear in mind the people that are going to be coming into the future, meaning our legacy, our future, the children. So I see myself, and I'm working on that now as we speak, is trying to help other people better themselves, and also help just all of us overall have a better existence, learn to coexist better. That's where I see myself in the future. I mean, I'm doing what I love to do now, which is basically have conversations, engage with people, give advice and insight with other people, give and try to help them out. It's just a matter of continuously doing the things that I love to do on a larger scale. So yeah, and I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but I also have this podcast show is actually going to be turned into a podcast TV show in the next month.
Oh, really?
Yes, I officially have signed that contract, and I officially have that in the works, and I'm going to start going out and publicizing it a little bit more, because I've been working things on the back end. But I'm going to have this Working Money podcast as a TV show, and you're going to see me on TV. Yes. Yeah, there's
climbing up to the top.
Yeah, but I've been keeping things on the down low with things. I've been with a lot of meetings with people.
More.
Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna definitely have Leonardo after we have all of that. It's whoop whoop. Leo, let's have you on the show. Another thing that I'm also doing is that I have a real estate TV show as well. This network picked me up for 2 shows. The podcast is going to be on one channel, and the real estate show is going to be in another channel. And basically it's talking about the real estate market, the comparisons between the East Coast and the West Coast. So that's going to be, geared towards people that are interested in real estate investing and knowing a little bit more about the real estate market. They are going to get that on my show.
I think that's incredible. Something I'm very interested in as well. One of the biggest ways that I like to add value is to be able to help people, especially up-and-coming influencers. I started something called Influencer Media Alliance, and I really want it to be a safe space for up-and-coming influencers, or micro-influencers as some people call it, to really give them advantage. And I want them to know that if they think they have a talent or a skill or a really unique story, that I would love to hear more about it and potentially work out being able to help elevate them. And that's something that's really done a lot for me internally as a person. Mm-hmm. You know, it really is. And it's also turned out to be really beneficial, you know, as a career move. And I think it probably has to do one of the things because I'm passionate about it. And I enjoy being able to help those kind of people do that.
Oh, yeah. And congratulations. I'm really happy for you.
Well, it's just a forever kind of thing for me, I guess is where I'm going with it in my 10 years from now.
Yeah.
It's being able to really continue that and scale that and be able to help, you know, as many people as possible and build this alliance where, you know, we actually are able to make an impact in the world because eventually there's going to be enough people in that alliance.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really exciting.
I definitely see more things coming for you in the near future. Keep me in the loop with that because I have events that I've been starting. I started to put together. One of them is a women's empowerment event that comes out in September. It's basically helping inspire other women pursue their dreams. So basically it's women from all different industries, from all different businesses coming on to this event, discussing their journey, having a Q&A session with them, and basically influencing and inspiring other women that maybe have little reservation about starting a business or pursuing a particular career, and just seeing people in that level that are successful, that helps inspire those other individuals to kind of go forth with it, you know, to go and take that part. Mm-hmm.
I have the perfect person to connect you with. Her name is Mary Shores. Okay. She's a Hay House author.
Okay.
And she is really good, and she is all about that. I mean, she's incredible. Look her up at maryshores.com.
Okay.
And see if you like what you see, I can put you in touch with her. She's phenomenal for what you're talking about.
Okay, I definitely will do that, and I am open to having anybody on the panel. The more the merrier.
Oh,
so yeah, I'm open to.
She would be, man. Yeah. She's a pretty unstoppable force right now. She's doing really great.
Oh, yeah, I definitely would have her on. There's quite a few other events that I'm plugging in, and you know, after this event in September takes off, one of the other ones is that I've been connecting a lot is with pro athletes that have side businesses, whether they're investing or they have their own business or whatever the case may be. But I'm having this event because I want to bring awareness to other athletes that might not be aware of how to have other options in case something happens where they have to retire, or they have, they have injuries that occur because, right, circumstances happen. So I want to bring that awareness to them and have people that already have those businesses on the side to kind of speak on that and bring that awareness out. I'm also doing an event, a creative event for people that are looking to fund their projects in either in film, TV, music, whatever the case is, because there are people that are trying to establish themselves and have projects that they want to present and they don't have the funds for it. So I'm trying to make those connections with investors with these people so that they can fund it and go forth and have those in place. And obviously we have this going on with the advocate work and bringing awareness to having more eco-friendly, being green to help our planet and also better our humanity. That's another event that I would love to be able to have work with you on and bring that out to New York or Texas or wherever you want to have this at, and definitely connect with our wonderful, inspirational actor Leonardo DiCaprio and anybody else of that level that would want to be part of that. And
Don't go any lines. All right.
yeah.
Well, this is really good. Thank you so much. If anyone has questions, feel free to reach out, Matt. Happy to help anyone I can.
Yeah, no, definitely. Steve, for our listeners, where can they find you?
At Steve T. Rosenberg. STEVE, the letter T for Tyler, and then Rosenberg, ROSCNBERG, or Influencer Media Alliance.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to plug in, or you want to
have not plug in? Just I want people to message me with their stories and with just a snapshot of them. I'm actively looking for influencers right now, and so I'd really like to see more people start flooding that, and that's really my number one focus right now.
Okay, so there you have it, guys. For our listeners out there that want to know more about the Work Your Money podcast, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That would be Work Your Money or Work Your Money podcast. You can also find us on iTunes and Stitcher. That would be Work Your Money podcast. And you can also find us on YouTube. Any audio, or if we have live guests on, we also have the videos there as well. That's Work Your Money podcast. And you can find us on our website, workyourmoney.net. So guys, it was great having Steve on. Great conversation as always. We also talk, we talk on the back end as well. There's always interesting things that Steve has going on. And for all of you out there, I wish everybody a great evening. And until the next time, do you know how to work your money? Bye, guys.